Have you ever wondered why some businesses just seem to be everywhere? When any customer does a search, they come across your competitor. They're always in the results, they're always on Google Maps. It just seems that whatever you do, your business can't seem to be seen, whereas theirs is always being seen. Well, the reason their brand is doing so well is down to two simple strategies. But the best part is whether you're large or small as a business, you can apply these two strategies today. I'm Zane, I've been a web designer and helping businesses grow for over 20 odd years now. And today I'm going to show you what these businesses do to get their brand just seen everywhere, how to avoid some of the common traps that businesses fall into, and a simple trick that's going to get you quick results. So how do these businesses just get their brand everywhere? Is it just a case of an unlimited advertising budget? Well, there's only so much you can do with a budget, and people don't always click on ads anyway. But this is what they do. This is the first thing they do, is they have a Facebook account, they have Twitter, of course it's X now, but it still feels like we should call it Twitter. They've perhaps got LinkedIn. And this takes me to the first strategy, and we can call this belt and braces. And the reason it's a knitting pattern is because we need to knit the business together. And successful businesses know that knitting it so that Google finds it is key. And so knitting your social profiles together so that your business brand is clearly identified to Google is one of the key elements here. Now, in the past, Google did some of this for you. So Google would go out, its spider would go out on the web, it would find certain Facebook pages, Instagram pages. It would then try and work out a connection with your business and your brand. And if it was convinced enough, it may just add that to your profile. But now Google spun it around and said it's up to you to make sure that we have it correct. So you now have an opportunity to build your brand by adding your profiles onto Google's business profile. And that's why I call it the belt and braces method. And it's an English idiom, which basically means you're covered both ways. Whether it's the belt or braces, your pants are going to be fine. So you don't need to start putting all your social profiles on your, say, footer links or your website. You don't need that schema now to let Google know that these are your social profiles for your brand. Those things are no longer necessary. Now you just add these links to your profile. So how do you do that? Well, it's quite simple. You log into your Google business profile, you click on Edit Profile, you click on Business Information, and then under Contact or just down the page, you'll see there Edit Social Profiles. Now, it used to say New. It's been around for a while now, so it probably won't say New anymore. You've got a down arrow. And there you can now start adding these social media links. Now, if you want to know exactly how to add the links, then there is a help section you can go to, and that will just show you exactly what the format is for these links if they're not working. But generally, it's pretty straightforward. And then once you've then filled in the web address or the field, you just add each link, and that's it. Then you then save it. So I would say it's absolutely necessary if you're building your brand to get those in first of all. Now, you might find some links already in there for you. That's because Google already spidered them. And that's a good sign, because that means that Google was clearly convinced that those social profiles matched what they saw. The one thing I would like to see is, can they get it so that you can put the order of your profile? Now, it's not alphabetical, and it's not to do with when you add them in. I just don't see anybody do that. So when I've got my YouTube being over to the far right-hand side, it gets cut off sometimes if it's only showing 4. So if you know a solution to that, put them in the comments below, because I've yet to find a solution. What about if you've got multiple business profiles? How do you make that work? How do you do that if you're using the same Facebook? Or the other way around, how do you do it when you've got multiple locations? Well, I'll come on to that in a moment, because I think that is a key question that many of you may be asking. But I first of all want to cover the second knitting pattern number 2, and I call this the web of trust. So this is all about businesses that rank all over the web have also got this off to a T. What they've done is they've made sure that their social media accounts all link back to each other. So if you go to the Facebook, it will there list their YouTube, their Google business, it will list their Twitter account. If you go to Twitter, on their social profile, on their account, on their settings, or the user profile, it will say, this is the YouTube account, this is the Google business account, this is the website. The point is if you've got, say, 6 or 7 main parts to your brand, then those 6 or 7, let's say it's 6, they go out and knit with their other 6, you've got 6 times 6, you've got 36 links back and forth. So you've got absolute clarity that your brand is all of these social profiles. Now it's true, even though you don't get the link juice being shared, because that doesn't generally happen, and that's a different subject altogether, but it's still a link. And it's still also a clarity, so there's no misunderstanding. And we'll come on to see in a moment, this is going to be really valuable going forward with AI. So as Google comes along, it crawls it sees a strand, it goes to that strand, it crawls that, it goes to another strand, and it's going in and out, and what it's doing is just building this complete web of trust. And that's what you're building here, is trust in Google. But be aware, there is a weak link that many develop and don't know about. It's something they haven't noticed when it comes to making these connections. In fact, the web can fall apart overnight, and it can do more harm than good if you're not aware of this. And that's why we're going to come on to some common traps in a moment. But of course, before I go any further, if you haven't subscribed to this channel and this is useful information, then do so you don't miss the next video. Okay, so what about those common mistakes? So we'll come on to common trap number one, and this is that the web can easily break because it's only as strong as the weakest strand. And the weakest strand is the one that you last updated, or you've updated the wrong way. So let me explain what I mean by this. So imagine after building this incredible brand, Google is confidently moving around the web and suddenly it comes across, say, a profile on your LinkedIn account that just doesn't seem to support the brand and what it's planning to do. And that is, it's like Google finds it's totally unrelated to anything that it's been building up, and the continuity of what's on that post really starts to challenge Google's understanding of your business. Let's say that it was an accountant's business. So he's an accountant by day, but according to this, he's a disco dancer by night. Suddenly the credibility and the trust is now dangling. In fact, it's probably going to break a lot of what you've built up on that brand. It's not to say it would disintegrate it, but from a customer's point of view, that would put out questions. And in this case of Google, it's trying to build up an authority, a trust on your business, your brand, and that will just ring alarm bells. Google understands what's in pictures, and it has an AI that can read a picture and know exactly what it's about. I did a video on this if you've not seen it before, and it's on my channel. Add to that Google will also use images on your other profiles, and it will sometimes use it in the results for your business. So potentially you could be having an image that's not related to your brand next to your brand in the search results for Google. And I've seen this before. So don't just assume that the only images Google uses are the ones that you upload on Google Business Profile, but I've seen it's used it on quite a few of the other social platforms. I've seen it from Yale, I've seen it from Facebook. So just bear that in mind too. So if you've got a personal account that you've been using, don't connect it to your business. Set up a business account and set that one up with your business, and make sure it's always business specific posts on that account. Now, the second common trap that will make your web weak is just not updating at all. And I've seen this again so often that you go to a business profile and it was pre-COVID the last time they updated it. And you just think, well, that's not really responding to customers' needs, it's not communicating. In fact, it's of no value. So actually, if your old accounts, your social profile accounts, are not kept up to date, then they don't really serve a value. So we're talking about months, weeks, that's fine. But if we're talking about years, then probably that's not of any use. In fact, it will do more damage than good, because if people go there expecting to see up-to-date information, and they're not getting consistency with your brand values, they're not getting consistency from the posts that they read, and they're seeing that you just don't care about updating it, then it just has a negative effect on your brand. Now, there is a really easy way to do all this with one tool, but before I show you that, I did mention that I just covered the question about if you've got multiple locations, how do you deal with that? Well, normally what I do is just go to a national company, what's their approach, and normally that will give you some clues. On top of that, you can also go to see if Google's got any information on this too. So checking the guidelines on Google, it's quite clear that you can add social media links to multiple profiles. And that's really what Sainsbury's have done here in the UK. So I can just see again, if I go to different Sainsbury's, I can see a different Facebook account. They're allowed to have different profiles because they're in different locations, and they can have a different social account if they wish, or they can share the same one. Both are acceptable. So that would be the best approach, is just reverse engineer what someone else is doing that's got a far more larger budget to make sure they're following the guidelines correctly. They can't afford not to. And if they've been doing this for some time, clearly it's not breaking guidelines because Google's still allowing it. Now you can update social media links in bulk as well if that's easier for you. Google says that for a business you can do it on search or on maps by using their API to manage multiple locations at once. So there's the extra direction there if needed. There's a simple trick so that you can update them all in one go. Because it sounds like a lot of work if you've got to log into each one and then produce a post for each one and do this every week or two. If you've got 5 or 6, that's a real challenge. So I use this brilliant tool called Circle Boom. So with Circle Boom, I only need to write it once and then I can send it to my YouTube community. I can push it out to Facebook, Twitter or X, Google Business, Pinterest, Instagram, TikTok, whatever the platform is, I can update it with this same information and I can see what it looks like, and I can then just press the button or I can schedule it on my calendar. So there's just a few tricks that I've discovered that I use and I would really recommend you trying using too. But I've got 37 other tricks that most people don't even know about regarding Google Business Profile. And if you haven't seen a video that shows you how you can do it for your business today, then I suggest you go to this video next because it's going to help you build up even greater ranking for your brand and business. Just apply these 37 tricks. I'll see you there.